Well, hello all. First of all, I must thank you all for watching my last Randall floral tutorial. It meant a lot, and I couldn't believe within an hour of that video going live, people were sending me their lovely Easter wreaths that they'd done on their doors. It really meant a lot. The whole point of me doing this is to share a bit of creativity and also to occupy my mind and hopefully your mind for half an hour or so that we're not thinking about the dreaded virus. Andrew, my husband, who works for the NHS, is coming home nightly more stressed. He's on a late tonight. He's on call tomorrow. He's got to go in on Saturday. And so it's even more important for me now, from a real selfish point of view, to keep my mind occupied so I don't keep thinking about what he could be doing at work, what he could be catching at work, what he could be bringing home. And flowers for me and being creative is a real escape from all of that. And if I can make one person forget their woes and worries for half an hour, then I've done my job. And judging by the response of the last video and all of the lovely wreaths, the Randall wreaths I've seen around the country, I'm over the moon, and it's inspired me to do another one. So today, with Easter on Sunday, I think it's really important to keep some kind of routine and rhythm. And the way we operate, well, internationally, is we're geared by Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day. In the flower world, that's really important because obviously certain flowers mean certain things at certain times of the year. So I think it's vital that we keep going with a bit of tradition. So in our minds, we've got something to look forward to, something to do, and something to indicate at what time of year it is. As you can see here, I'm going to be using daffodils. I'm hoping Sunday everyone's going to do the same as us, and we are going to set the table for Sunday dinner. Would have been having probably parents round and friends round, but obviously we can't. So we are still going to set the table. We're going to do a 3-course meal. And I thought it would just be really nice to still have the home looking seasonal and appropriate to the time of year. And so I thought I'd do an Easter display. The last Randall wreath, obviously I used metal coat hangers, and I wanted to try and do something again that uses something that we've got at home, and I'm going to try and use as many materials that everybody can get their hands on, so we're not going out and buying things, we're trying to use things from around our home. So the main ingredient of this display is going to be recycled bottles and jars, things like you get little chutneys and jellies in. This one's tartar sauce about to finish, so I'm going to save that jar to do a display in that. Whenever anybody for my birthday or Christmas buys me a reed diffuser, I instantly look at the bottle and think, now when all that scent's gone, I'm going to throw away the reed sticks, and I've got a really lovely container. Jars, jam jars, pickled onion jars. This is a lovely little vase with writing on, but you could use a jam jar, pickled onion jar, chutney jar, any kind of glass vessel, clear or coloured. And of course, if you're anything like this household, you'll be finding that your empties build up. So I'm also going to be using wine bottles. What I found I did with these is I just filled the bowl with some boiling water, let the bottles rest in the water for about 10-15 minutes, and the labels easily poured off. I must say some labels absolutely wouldn't come off even after soaking for half an hour, so I discarded those. So perhaps if you're going to use, in this display I'm going to use 3 of these bottles, so perhaps if I was to do 4 or 5 soaked, then you know that at least you'll be able to use 3 of them. And I have a green interior design scheme in my lounge and dining room, so I'm using the green one, but if you want to stay away from colour, just the clear glass ones are fine. Obviously the great thing about using a coloured glass vase or vessel is the mechanics and how the flowers are tied together aren't on show, so you have to be a little bit more particular if you're using clear, because it's all in the detail. So this display, when it's put together collectively, is really effective, but it's very simple in steps, because we're going to be using small, medium and then large. So simple in their independency, but then when they're collectively together on display, they look fabulous, which on my dining table, at the end of this tutorial, I shall show you how it all comes together. So materials I'm going to use for this are all of the glass vessels. I've done a table display, so I've used quite several amount, a lot of them. It's up to you what you want to do. You might want to have 3 gathered on a side table, 5 on a coffee table, or what really works well with this glass is on a windowsill. So, a hallway, a bedroom, a lounge, dining room. If you've got a windowsill in the window, this looks absolutely lovely. Sun shines through, and you've got all these collective bottles and displays to interest the eye. Materials I'm using, as I say, I'm going to try and stick to as much as I can of stuff that every household would have. So we've got your snipping implements. I've got these little clippers here, little shears. I've got some scissors, some string or some twine. I've got my sellotape dispenser and just normal household sellotape here. I have also got floristry tape, which is great, because it's stretchy, waterproof, it's got extra strength to it. So I do prefer to use that, but I'm very lucky that I'm a florist, so I do have some at home. If you haven't got any, just use the sellotape. And then as far as foliage goes, I've got some variegated grass that I've cut out of one of my ornamental containers. When going in the garden and snipping bits, obviously go to the back of the containers. I'm absolutely neurotic when I've grown everything and made everything look lovely, that you're not just hacking bits off from the front. So I've gone around the back and snipped some of that lovely yellowy variegated grass. I've also got some variegated laurel leaf here. Variegated, I'm heavy on that at the moment, really interested in that, because I think it really works well with the yellow daffs that we're using. I've got some rhododendron leaves. You could use plain laurel leaves. Any big green leaves, basically, with a shiny surface, work really well for this, because we're going to be using those to make a mask cuff. So the bigger the leaf, the better. And I'm also introducing an artificial flower to this display, because if you can't get fresh flowers and you've got artificial at home, an old arrangement that you can take to pieces, this is very simple, because I'm just using 2 of these. And I love particularly artificial tulips, because they are so realistic. And this is a tall one, so it's going to give me lots of height for my display, and is everlasting. I'm also using a couple of pieces of willow. This is twisted willow that I've cut out of the garden. But again, any twig will do. If it's got leaves on it, strip it. But I just like that fact of that woody, gnarly, twig-like structure with the artificial flower and the green and the daffodils. And then, talking of the daffodils, I've been to my local Waitrose when I had my once-a-week shopping expedition, and I've just got bunches of these amazing Waitrose daffodils, which are fabulous value. British-grown daffodils from the flower garden at Waitrose, £1. And you get these from M&S, Asda. All the supermarkets seem to be selling at least some flowers. So don't go out purposely to get them, but on your shopping list, maybe add a little bunch of those. But as I say, you could use artificial, or you could use an alternative flower out of your garden. Tulips are starting to come through, so they would work really well with any of the displays I'm going to do today. So just be cautious and be careful. But this is all of the material that I could get hold of this week. So we're going to start with the small vase, first of all, which is this tiny little vintage milk bottle. Again, as I say, you can use, once this jelly has gone out of this pot, you could use some of these little pots. Have a look around your cupboards, see what pots you've got. But it is important that you have small, medium and large, because when these arrangements are put together, it's going to be about the different heights. So with the small one, we are going to simply take an open daffodil. So out of the stem. I love daffs, very easy to work with, because they've got this lovely nice stem to work with and a flexible head that you can manipulate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the grass, this variegated grass. I've just cut a handful. And what you need to do is cut it so that it's got a nice flat edge on there, and pinch them all together. And then you're going to fold them over. Keep pinching them and turning them. So pinch them together, pinch them together, keep pinching. A bit fiddly, but hey, we've got all the time in the world to do this. Again, pinching them together, twisting them. Any bits that come out you can cut off, or you can fold over. Basically like this structure of folded over leaves, because it works really lovely against the head of the daffodil. until you've got this, as you can see, a nice group together bit. Then with your sellotape, we are simply going to tape this over where you've pinched, wrap it around so that the whole thing is secure. Then we're going to get our daffodil, and amongst that, put the daffodil. And it just adds a nice modern touch to the daffodil. Bury that head in there, and it just adds a lovely little bit of shape, a nice little bit of modern feel, and a lovely little bit of interest to put in the little vase. Then we are simply going to snip that. So collectively, all the stems are at the bottom, the stem of the daffodils we've got. So all of that can go in water. What I don't want to do is put the household sellotape in water, because obviously that will dissolve and then it will all loosen. So we just want water so that it comes to about 1 inch at the bottom of the stems. And that is simply going to go into the little vase like so. Beautiful. I do a lot of these. These are lovely for wedding table arrangements. You could put a little luggage label on each one and a bow so that the table set's there, so you could put names on. And they also work as a lovely little favour, so your wedding guests or whatever event it is could take them away with them. I often have a little carrier to put them in as well, which looks lovely. And they make a really lovely little wedding favour gift. And as I say, with the label on of the name, it's a lovely place setting as well. So, that is your small one. So that is on the lower level. Lovely, I like that. Okay, so for the next one, which should be your jar or your medium-sized one, I'm using this vessel here. So I love this one because it's got little bits of writing on. You can get these kind of things from the internet. And I have 1 bunch, so that's £1 worth of daffodils. And what you need to do is keep the elastic bands on, because what we want is this structure to act as one structure. And what I'm going to do just at the top here is put some sellotape so that it holds them together, because I want this kind of posy shape. I honestly have not touched these. This is I bought them from the shop, put them in water, and this is how they've come. But as you can see, they're a little bit loose. So what I like to do is put some sellotape around the top. Obviously, I know daffodils are robust, but you've still got to handle them with care because they're still a live product. And all we're going to do is put the sellotape at the top so that it's keeping it like that. If you don't want to use sellotape, you could use your twine and twine it around, or wire, anything that's in the garage, just so that we've got this lovely head together. Okay, so I'm going to put those to one side for now. So we're keeping the top elastic band on and the bottom one, so they're all grouped together. And we're just going to pop those in water and put to one side. Now what I want to do to add a bit of greenery to these is I want to do almost like a cuff. From a florist point of view, you could do this as a hand tie and just keep adding the leaves and grabbing. But to make it all easier, and for people that have never flower arranged before, I thought this was a really simple way of making a cuff. So here, I've got this variegated leaf, which is beautiful. I love this because it's got those lovely yellow dots on. It's got a nice shiny leaf, and it goes really, really well with the daffodils. And I've cut this with about a 3-inch stem on. I've cleared the stem of leaves so that I've already got that to work from. Then what we're going to do with the rhododendron leaf, so a bigger leaf, just to add a contrast. I love these because they've got the lovely lines on, the lovely veins, and the lovely, nice dark green richness, is I want to add that to that. And we're going to do that again with sellotape. So pinch the stems together, make sure it's situated so that you've got the lime green and the dark green leaf. Really vital this is because it's adding an interest to the eye. It's adding tone on tone. We're going lime green to dark rich green, which works really well. And that's what we're going to do. What I'm going to do to this one is I'm going to add another one here because I want to try and make kind of a fan shape. So I'm going to add from my big leaves another one. So I like the look of this one. I'm going to trim that one, I'm going to trim that one, and I'm going to take that one off. See which works the best. And I quite like that added to that. As you can see, we've almost got like a fan. So again, I'm going to sellotape that on top of the other two I've sellotaped together. so that we're getting a nice shape. So I think that's enough for one, so that's going to be one. I'm then going to repeat with another piece I've got of this lovely dotted variegated. I'm then going to add another leaf, looking at it all the time to make sure I like the composition of it. And I need another piece. So I'm looking at what shape the flowers are going to work, which I quite like the look of this one here. So I'm going to add that to that. And then I'm going to tape all of those together. As I say, sellotape isn't ideal because it doesn't like water, so the stickiness will go. So you could wire these together, but or use the floristry tape. But just to give you an idea of what I'm doing and for quickness, and so that you can do this at home, the sellotape works fine for this as long as it's not in water. And then, as you can see, I've got two pieces here. Simple, layered, dark green and lime green together, so that we can create a cuff. And then what I mean by a cuff is we're going to get the daffodils that we've sellotaped the heads together and we've left the elastic band on. And we are going to lay, you need to look at it so that you're laying the leaves at the back of it to act almost like a collar, like a cuff. You see how beautiful that is? And then we're going to do one the opposite side so that we've got one this side too. Can you see? And again, I always say with flowers, don't be too precise. We want kind of a rustic, hand-picked feel. The flower trend for this year is real English country flowers, hand-picked from the garden, poppies, freestanding, single stems, collectively together. Gives a real on-trend look. And I think that is absolutely lovely, lovely for a bride. But that's going to be our middle zone level for our table arrangement. So what I'm then going to do is thread that through the elastic band. So the current elastic band that they actually came with, put the leaves through the elastic band so that it's in place. So it's on the elastic band and through there. And then again, the other side, thread again through the elastic band. So that's on the elastic band. You could, if you wanted to, keep building this up and building this up. You could also put some grasses. If you just want to do that for your table arrangement for Easter, that in itself is lovely. What you could do is cut this really short and put it in a bowl, and it would work really well in the centre of a table. But I just think that really makes daffodils take on a different edge. And then that's going to go in our medium vase. But what I want to do is cut that down. So I'm going to remove the elastic band, trim the flowers off to make sure that they sit perfectly in the vase. I might actually put those a little bit lower. And again, a couple of inches of water will be fine for the bottom of this. Just make sure that the sellotape doesn't sit in water because, as I say, the sellotape will lose all its stickiness. And voila, there you have your lovely hand-tied posy, daffodils and nice leaves going around for your middle level of your arrangement. Now, to move on to the higher arrangement. Remember we had small, medium, and then we're going to have large. So, with your recycled empties, I'll show you the height first that we're going to do. I'm going to use this artificial tulip. This is lovely because it's got a variegated green to it. And once it's mixed with some real greenery, that's what I love about artificial flowers. I know people can be a bit snobby about them, but I think artificial flowers are certainly better than no flowers, and no room is dressed without flowers. And it's really great if you can have a couple that you keep at home all the time of artificial stems, because you can always get greenery out the garden, and greenery is, you know, the cheapest thing to buy anyway, and you can just put a bit of artificial flowers with your real greenery. But I think this tulip is lovely, and again, this time of year, seasonal. And what I'm going to do with this is mix it with the twisted willow. So what I want is, you know, the twisty twig to come out from the tulip. It just adds a nice juxtaposition. I've dropped my twig. I'm just using 2 pieces. It doesn't really need a lot. It just needs a little bit of twigness. Just to add a little bit of interest and a little bit of shape. Like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some daffs. Can you see that? I'm going to get some daffs that I'm literally choosing the ones I like that are open, and I'm just going to put them at, say, 3 different stages. And all this will do is it'll create interest, add a bit of yellow, and as you can see, the yellow against this lovely greenery with the twisted willow and then the tulip sprouting up from the top just gives a lovely effect. And what I'm going to do is sellotape that. So it's secure, and then that goes into your bottle. Pushing it all the way down. So what we've got there is we've got a very simple but lovely arrangement. We've got the artificial greenery of the tulip that you can manipulate and turn to act as a nice backdrop for the yellow flowers. And then you've got a daffodil here, one at mid-height, one at the high height, and then the tulip sprouting out along with the twigs, which I hope you can see. I love bottle arrangements. I think they're on trend and they really work. If you're anything like this householder, you've got plenty of wine bottles free. So what I love about this is if you wanted to give it as a gift, I mean, that in itself works beautiful on its own, in the hallway, just add in a lovely little bit of interest really. But if you then put this into a wine bag, put some water in it, a little bit of a bow and a label, what an absolutely lovely thing to take to a loved one, to a neighbour who's feeling a bit low, to leave on the doorstep. That's just a really lovely instant arrangement that they'll receive, open up. I mean, everyone's got these wine bags left over from previous gifts. And then they can instantly just get that out, put it on their table. What a lovely, thoughtful gift. Nice top tip. So that is one of the high ones, and that is the total height. So we've done the small one, we've done the medium one, and we've got the high one. And it's really important for this display, because you'll see when I take you over to the whole display that I've finished, it's really important that you do have those 3 heights, because that adds the interest and gives the right dynamics to this arrangement. So pop those to one side for now. And then the other thing I wanted to do was just show you how, by simply grouping some open daffodils, I'm going through I bought 4 lots of bunches, so £4 I spent on daffodils. By just bunching them together, that's 3, and then turning, and then 4, and turning, 5, and what we're going to do is, say, let's use that many. What you can do with daffodils is if you group all the heads together, like so. So you can have a really lovely tight bunch, and sellotape the tops, again carefully, because you don't want them to die. You don't want to crush the little beauties. You do want to handle them with care. So I'm just going to pop some sellotape, 2 pieces of sellotape around the top. I'm then going to cut the stems at one height. And you have a really lovely structured arrangement there. You can, if you want, twine all of those together with wire. But as you can see, you don't see the sellotape because that's in the neck of the bottle. But you've got a really lovely instant arrangement of daffodils, which I think works it's really simple, really effective, and they just last lovely. You could do it with buds and let them open, but I just think when the daffodils have started to open fully like this, it's really nice to be able to get that done. Looks lovely. And you could, if you wished, then put a bow around the neck of the bottle. I've got some green ribbon here. Some gingham would be nice actually for this time of year. But I don't have any gingham at hand. But This is lovely to do a bow around the neck of the bottle. And again, what you could do if you're having an event, an engagement party, wedding party, is you could have these on the tables for either a table name and hang a luggage label off them, or you could have these as table place points as well, so that it's got the name of whoever's sitting on wherever they're sitting. But that is really simple, really effective. And you don't have to do that in a big bottle. You could do that in the medium-sized one, or you could do just 3 in a smaller bottle. But really quaint, really cute, and very simple to do. I like that a lot. So, we've done small, medium and large. We've used daffodils, some variegated leaves, some grasses, some willow, and collectively they work wonders. Simple things to do in simple steps. What I'm going to do is take you over to the arrangement that I did earlier to show you how it works collectively. As you can see, it really is vital that you've got different heights and different levels, because when they're all put together, you have a real powerful display then of flowers. Ta-da! Done. Quite straightforward. Easy steps. Have a go. Or if you've just enjoyed watching me doing it and it's taken your mind off things for half an hour, then my job has been done. I'm going to go and sit out in the sunshine now this afternoon. As I say, Andrew's on the late this evening and on call tomorrow and at work on Saturday. So watch this space, because I'm sure there's going to be more videos to come. Stay safe, folks.